LSU, no, they ain't ready for the LSU, huh? They ain't ready for the LSU, no, they ain't ready for the LSU. We the best in the league if you looking for talent. LSU going hard, but we beat Alabama, then we going out to Florida. Drown the Gators, everybody getting bucked when we step in the stadium. This the LSU anthem, you know it's a hit. You don't know another rapper two-step like this. See me screaming out the window, yelling purple and gold. I'm an LSU fan, girl, you know how we roll now. Back and back it on up, hey. Back and back it on up, hey. Back and back it on up, hey. Back and back it on up, hey.
TA, we are live Friday night here in the Tigers Avenue. Boy, it's going to be a great show.
It's Friday.
Man, I love this time of year, Zach, because it's like there's something on every night. It's something on every night to watch. I mean, man, you got the Florida State-Louisville game tonight. I mean, I'm sure a bunch of folks are out watching high school football games. You got Monday Night Football. You got Thursday Night Football. You got Saturday college football. You got Sunday NFL football. You got to love it. I mean, the excitement builds all week long. You want your team to compete and come up to the task of the next opponent, right? And especially for LSU fans this week, as obviously the opponent takes a major step forward from last week. You start SEC play against Mississippi State. So, Zach, it's always fun to have a show on Friday night and talk LSU football.
Yeah,
we got a special guest here tonight, Zach.
We do. We do.
What was you about to say?
I was just about to say, those weeks are getting a lot longer. The weeks are getting a lot longer because
come on.
You get to Monday and you're like, okay, I got like Friday to get to Friday. I got to get to Friday. And then when we get to Friday, then I know that it's time. And I know that it's time for the weekend and time for college football. So, yeah, the weeks go by a lot slower now, unfortunately. But anyways.
Look, Jesse Hale is already in here. He's been waiting for this next trivia night. He's been waiting for it, man. He's been ready to get on this. Been ready to get on this one. But Zach, before we get to the trivia, I know that's our first segment here. We have a guest tonight, big time Mississippi State fan, diehard Mississippi. I mean, y'all are about to see it. I mean, y'all are about to see what kind of State fan we're rocking with tonight. If there's any complaint on our show that like we just, we're all, obviously we're all LSU, but like we never bring in any other perspectives or anything. I mean, you're about to see that argument can't hold much weight because we have the state of all State fans coming on the show tonight. Okay.
We might regret it.
We might regret it. No. Leighton's going to be a great guest for tonight. Bring him in here. We need some applause music to bring him in here as well, Zach.
For sure.
Need the applause. Bring Leighton in here, our cousin. Leighton Sherman, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, no.
Dogs in the house, baby. Dogs in the house.
We got the applause going already. Yeah. Leighton, welcome to the show. We appreciate you taking some time from your Friday night evening to come on and, man, talk SEC football. We know you like to talk state football specifically. Appreciate you joining on, though, man.
Man, I love state, but I have like said it all along that I love what like you two are doing with the like Tiger Avenue. Y'all are in it. Y'all are like doing it, baby. Y'all are good. So
we enjoy it.
It is always a privilege.
Yeah, absolutely, man. We enjoy doing this. It's a blast. I mean, it's always fun to come in here and answer comments as well and get some interaction. People may be in the heart of Friday Night Football right now. We know a lot of our Louisiana listeners. Boy, they find the game of the week and they go watch it. I mean, there's a big Louisiana game tonight. St. Augustine and Zachary are playing tonight. Lots of LSU prospects. So, of course, Friday nights, a lot of people are out watching those games. So, but we're here talking about SEC football, and we're excited about it. And we're really glad to have you on and get a perspective from a State fan, of course.
Hey, it's going to be a long night, man. Long night.
So, Zach, before we start getting into this extra stuff and some trivia, I mean, well, we need to get to the trivia. What is for the fans watching, Jesse? What is what is the question for tonight? I mean, they're wanting a free bucket hat. They're wanting a something.
Yeah, so the first person to answer this question correctly gets one free item from our merch store. Obviously, you can go and visit tigersavenue.com, click on the merch tab, and there you will see all of our merchandise that you can go through and look. So, first one to answer this correctly. Jesse, our good buddy, he is vying to get this hoodie that he wants to get from us, but he's got to be the first one to answer correctly. All right, so we're ready. When was the first episode that me and Reagan shot together? Together, meaning we were physically in person together with each other.
Oh, man. Good
When
question.
was that first episode? I need an episode number. You give me that correct episode number, you will be receiving one free item from the merch store. We're going to be doing this every month.
Great question.
Giving out a trivia question. Jesse said BRB. Hey, look, all of our other viewers that we got right now, beat them to it. You get free TA merchandise. Free TA merchandise. Beat them to it.
He wants it too. Hey, Zach, you got to throw up. Maybe Leighton can see it. Maybe he can, maybe not.
I already know.
But we got a guy who's been coming on the show lately, and his name's Doug Knows. Can you see the profile picture, Leighton? Can you see what it is? It's brilliant. I mean, it's brilliant.
No, but I'm a whole lot better looking than Stingray.
yeah. I don't know who Stingray is. Zach, maybe
he's from Cobra Kai, the show.
No, listen,
Reagan.
Listen.
Is that who he's talking about?
Stingray.
Or is he talking about somebody
Stingray,
else?
no, like Stingray.
I hope the state fan knows.
He is, to put it nicely, he is an embarrassment to the average state fan.
Oh, wow.
Just look him up sometime.
I don't even know who it is.
Look, okay.
Embarrassment? Wow.
Let me show you why. Because everyone knows that you ring a bell like this, right? Like that.
Right.
Every one of his shows, he's like, yeah. That is strike one. But two, he then jumped on the USM bandwagon. For what? I don't know. But he did.
That's brutal.
Okay,
The
so
USM
here's the
bandwagon.
confusion. Y'all ready for this? Here's my confusion. Let me get it pulled up here. Let me get it. That's Stingray. And I was like, is he, because they actually do kind of look alike. A little bit.
I don't see it. I don't see it.
No. You ought to look up the Mississippi State Stingray and then you'll know.
Mississippi State Stingray.
Telling you.
Look, so Leighton, let me tell you about this guy's profile picture here. I know you can't see it.
Yeah.
It is Jimbo Fisher looking into a mirror, and in the reflection of the mirror is Kevin Sumlin.
Wow.
It's brilliant.
Wow.
I mean,
it is.
It is pretty good.
I wanted to bring that up. Since this is our opening segment, little something extra was our segment. We're still waiting on the answers to come in for the trivia. Obviously, Jesse's searching, so we have some time to chit chat about last week's SEC football. Number one being Texas A&M. Leighton, what is your opinion on what has transpired with Jimbo Fisher in recent history?
Well, Jimbo Fisher, he loves to talk, right? I mean, it all off season. Yeah, we are back, baby. He's almost like Texas fans. They'll say, "Yeah, man, we're back. But apparently, after I think it was the 1.2, I think it was just over $1 million. They had to write out to App State. They aren't back, baby.
They are not back.
No, but there's no excuse. They have they have the studs, they have the stars, but the stars did not actually align in that game. So I don't know.
Look, I'll tell you right now. I'm surprised Max Johnson didn't play a snap in the Appalachian State game. I feel like there should have been a move made in that game because Anais Smith and Evan Stewart and the receivers at A&M are elite when you put the ball in their hands. They are very good players. But Haynes King cannot put the ball in their hands. So, I mean, with how stale the offense was this past weekend for State, I think it was a coaching mistake not to make a move in game. Like, I understand, like, the whole concept of sticking with your guy, but dude, it is Appalachian State. As one of the highest paid coaches in all of college football, the Aggies, head coach, they invest all of these resources, the facilities, everything. You can't lose week 2 to Appalachian State. You can't. No. Especially with what has unfolded with Nick Saban and the NIL deals and the best recruiting class in the history of recruiting. Like, make the move, bro. Like, you got to make the move. So I feel like that's a coaching mistake. All right, Zach. He has an answer, and I see you shaking
Jesse
your
has
head.
an answer. This is incorrect. This is incorrect, Jesse.
Correct question.
Wait a minute.
You have to try again there, Jesse. Try again. He's the only one in here right now, other than Doug.
Somebody please beat this man.
Why do you want somebody to beat him? He's trying to support our merch.
He's trying so hard.
Now, here is something that will actually kind of like set this off. App State is not even leading in the Sun Belt. They looks like they're 1-1, and it looks like they're behind Marshall and like James Madison and Georgia Southern and Coastal Carolina. I mean, I don't know.
I mentioned this on the Monday show, Leighton. Texas A&M in the last 4 years, I'm pretty sure they've had a top 7 recruiting class in the last 4 years. Top 7 or better. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's top 10. So let's just go with that. They've had a top 10 recruiting class or better in the last 4 years. Appalachian State's best recruiting class in the last 4 years is 63rd.
Wow.
Uh-oh. Oh, no. Dadgummit. He got it correct.
Yeah, give him the applause. Give him the applause. He deserves it.
All right. Good job, Jesse. I guess I'll have to get you a new hoodie. I expect you to wear it. First day you get it.
Yeah, absolutely. So A&M, all that stuff. Since we're having our extra segment here as well, another question for you, Leighton. How do you grade the LSU hire in Brian Kelly? What do you think of the hire?
Tread lightly.
From the time he got off the plane, I didn't like the guy. You can ask your cousin, which is my beautiful wife. I said, I don't like Brian Kelly, and I don't like him. I mean, I think that, okay, look, what did he do at Notre Dame?
Win a lot of games.
But what did he do against the SEC at Notre Dame?
He beat LSU twice.
Yeah, but that wasn't saying much back then. I mean, but I'm talking about, if you look, you have Mike Leach over here. He is over here coughing in his press conferences and everything. He doesn't have a $97 million contract. And
Sure.
I just don't know what he's done to deserve that. I mean, as
Legally,
now,
he can't have a $97 million contract unless state is retarded, because Mississippi, he can't have more than 4 years on his contract.
no. I'm talking about the
Brian Kelly.
actual Brian Kelly contract.
Okay.
I heard it was up around that.
Yes,
It's
Now,
100 million. 100
but it's
million.
over 10 years.
10 years, 100 million. 10 million a year.
I mean, I don't think he's
Charles
worth it.
Hill.
I mean, I just don't.
We're going to find
But-
out in the next few years.
Oh yeah. Now, I mean, if he can just like to figure out, because he went from having it made over there, right? But now over here, if you lose to like State tomorrow, if that happens,
Sure.
he's gonna be hot. If he loses to Ole Miss, they will be ready to fire him, but they can't.
I'm going to tell you right now, Leighton, they've committed to Brian Kelly.
Well, yeah, they
And
have to. For that money.
There's going to be some really dumb LSU fans, if he loses to State tomorrow, that will try to claim for his head. And if you are that LSU fan, I have nothing for you. The idea that Brian Kelly comes in 3 games or 1 season, you expect him to go win the SEC is unrealistic. I mean, our expectations for this season have been around, I would say, generally 7-5, at best like 9-3.
Yeah.
At best. So you can't expect the dude to come in after having 39 scholarship players on a bowl game and compete to win the SEC West year 1. So those fans who say who want to fire him are, number one, they don't know what they're talking about. Number 2, it's just not going to happen. They're committed,
Right.
to Brian Kelly. And my rebuttal is with Notre Dame, they for 34 years now have accepted the fact that they're just, I guess, don't want to be a national championship contending program. We specifically know a media member for LSU. He is probably the number 1 media guy for LSU. It's outside of anybody actually affiliated with LSU. He's ESPN Baton Rouge Radio 104.5 Matt Moscona. The dude wanted to go to Notre Dame, had a 3.9 GPA coming out of high school, great state testing scores, and couldn't get accepted in. Like, you can't expect to bring talent in at a high level like Bama, like State, or like Bama, like Georgia,
Rudy.
like A&M, when guys with 3.9s can't even get in, right? Yeah. So the fact that Brian Kelly competed at the level he did at Notre Dame with the restrictions that he had, now coming to LSU with more resources, the academics restrictions are no longer there. I mean, guys,
the recruiting pool is
Leighton.
a lot
Les
deeper.
Miles and Ed Orgeron. Yes, I think Ed Orgeron completely won a national championship because of Joe Burrow, 100%.
Oh yeah. Now
But
look.
Les Miles and all them won national championships. I think Brian Kelly can.
Now look. I just don't like him. I don't like his, what's the word, kind of like a personality, right?
Sure,
I mean,
Sure.
he just comes across like, I mean, I have like, he just, what is the image of LSU was Coach Oates. He sounded like LSU. He looked like LSU. Everything. I mean, he was LSU, and he is enjoying himself right now with a whole bunch of hamburgers and hammocks,
absolutely,
whatever he wants. He's
absolutely.
That's true.
My thing is sure, he looked like LSU, and everybody liked that at LSU for a time. Whenever everything 2019 came around, everybody loved Ed Orgeron until we realized that.
But the next year, it started going downhill really quick.
Till we had nothing. We realized it had nothing to do with Ed Orgeron whatsoever. We just fell backwards into probably the next greatest NFL quarterback. I mean, second year in the NFL, leads his team to the Super Bowl. I mean, generational talent quarterback, and it
Right.
probably has nothing to do with Ed O. But as much as he looked LSU, sounded LSU, he also made LSU look really stupid a lot of times and failed LSU a lot. So, I mean, I'm okay if Brian Kelly's persona, and I agree with you, there's some times when the persona is off and doesn't fit the bill for LSU. But I'm okay with that if he gets up there and acts professional. Doesn't sound like a complete idiot every time.
It seems
and
like
every press conference, he's like, "This is the greatest practice we've ever had. This is amazing. This is fantastic." Like, I don't want to hear that.
With Brian Kelly though, it seems like that stereotype that he has received of having this hardcore personality. It seems like he's trying to ease that up a little bit at LSU because, like, he comes into every press conference and he starts like every press conference like trying to crack a joke.
Something lighthearted.
Are they good?
Yeah.
Are they good? No, but like he is trying, as Reagan said, he's trying to be lighthearted, I think. And I think because of the coaching change, he's trying to take on this new personality. Not that he's trying to be fake, but I think he's like, this is a new place for me. This is a new era for LSU. Let me try and maybe reevaluate myself and how I didn't do well at Notre Dame, PR wise and on the field wise.
And some reporters have even asked him about that. There's been reporters actually.
And let me see what I can do while I'm here.
Yeah.
So,
it is a dream location to be at, like LSU. I mean,
True.
I have heard several coaches. I mean, shoot, I think though, this is like to jump ahead of myself, but y'all have the talent, y'all have the facilities, y'all have the coaching staff, so there is like no reason why you should lose to let's say like Florida State.
Yeah,
that's why you have these like the crazy fans that were like, I won't even go now because of all the everything that you have, but.
You got to let the dude build the program.
Exactly.
Like, come on.
Mm-hmm. Right.
There's going to be fans like that. All right, we're already 24 minutes in here. Looks like Jesse's still in the comment claiming that Ole Miss will beat LSU, and there's no doubt about it.
Cody wants to ask Leighton a question. He says, hey, Leighton, how do you grade Mike Leach's flip-flop game? It's a shot at Miles Brennan, but anyways.
I grade it like everything else he does. It is like the Mike Leach-esque, like only he could do it, like only he could like say go on about you're like fat girlfriends, or he could like go on about like weddings, or like, man, I love candy corn, or I like hate this. He is him. So
it's definitely different.
Oh yeah.
So. This is my last question here, Leighton. I told you this pre-show that I wanted to ask you a question here about Mike Leach and the current situation with State. I think Mike Leach has done a great job so far building. I also think that Will Rogers is criminally underrated. That being said, once Will Rogers leaves and is gone, how do you think State looks under Mike Leach following that?
Fantastic. Because they have this guy that is in there right now. His name is Sawyer Robertson. He's from Texas. He's a stud. He looked a lot better than like the Will Rogers did as he came up to State. So if you look at like Rogers, he's small. He isn't loud. He isn't like say vocal. He isn't one of those ones that are like, yeah, man, here we go, all this stuff. But he is. That's one thing that I could say about Leach. Everywhere he's been, he may be as like inconsistent as probably let's say like fast food, right? But he can develop a quarterback.
Yeah. So. Yeah. He did it with Gardner Minshew. He's done it with Will Rogers. All right. So that's been our extra segment here, Jesse. wins the trivia segment as well. We'll move forward here to some stuff more people are wanting to hear. Preview of the games. So State and LSU obviously they're facing off. I mean, just a reminder, it's 6:30 tomorrow night, and it is in Baton Rouge in Death Valley, night game, which I do. It is 6:30?
It's
5
it's
p.m.
5 o'clock.
Excuse me. Sorry. 5 o'clock.
failed.
5 o'clock.
You
Night
failed.
game. My mistake. Yes, y'all are right. In Death Valley. So it will be a night game in Death Valley, which I think does play a factor into this game. If you don't think it does,
You're
try
crazy.
again. Yes. So, and I think there it is going to be a great atmosphere because I'll tell you what, there's sometimes that, yes, Death Valley can be the most intimidating stadium in the country. And then there's other times when it's very disappointing. I expect it to be one of the best atmospheres tomorrow night, just considering that it's Brian Kelly's first SEC game. It's night game. It's an SEC game. All of those factors play into it. It's the first one of the season. Obviously, we had the home opener last week, but I mean, it was against Southern. Nothing against Southern, but FCS school. This is the SEC opener for Brian Kelly in Baton Rouge. It's going to be a really jumping atmosphere, so I'm really excited about it.
I'm pretty sure it's already sold out.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be a great atmosphere. So I'll go to Zach first here. Zach, what are your initial thoughts for the game? What are your initial takes for this game?
Well, first off, I'm going to say this again. I said it last week, but I told you so, Reagan. I told you so. I told you so. Preseason, I told everybody.
I didn't disagree with you about Will Rogers. I disagreed about the
State.
whole. No. About State as a whole.
That's what I'm saying.
I agree. Will Rogers was a very good quarterback. I had question marks about the defense.
Fear State because they rely heavily on the air raid, and Will Rogers is in his third year, and he's a really good quarterback. And I agree, he is very much underrated. And I came into the season saying, y'all need to watch out for State. You need to watch out for State. And people in spaces, in the Twitter spaces, like, come on, Zach. And look where we're at right now, right? So, I think this is going to be a very competitive game. We'll give predictions here at the end. I think it's going to be a very competitive game. The biggest thing that I am worried about for LSU is the offensive line. Because
absolutely.
Two of the biggest things that LSU needs to do well, and we'll talk about this at the end when we do TA's tools for success to win the game. But two things that LSU need to do really well tomorrow night is they need to be able to get push on the offensive side of the ball to open up running lanes for the running backs so that they can control time of possession, and they need to be able to hold the defensive line back in the passing game so that Jaden Daniels has time to get these really talented wide receivers open. Because I think the wide receivers on MSU's DBs is a mismatch, but I think MSU's defensive line on LSU's offensive line is a mismatch because I think when you look at those battles, I think MSU wins the line of scrimmage when LSU's on offense and they're on defense. But I think LSU wins the receivers versus the DBs. It's really going to come down to, I think, LSU's offensive line. And I think it's going to be a close game, and a lot of people are thinking the same. I mean, if you go look on ESPN right now, like I know State's favored by 3 points right now. I think that was as low as 2.5 at one point. But ESPN FPI index actually has LSU as a almost 57% favorite. So even though even though they're not favored in Vegas, the ESPN FPI index favors LSU. So, it's really up in the air. It's a coin flip game. This is a massive, massive game for LSU. And I think for State too, because I think a lot of people are looking at State and they're 2-0. They started pretty good. How good of a season is State going to have this year? They go out and win this game. They could be a 8-4, 9-3 team, right? So, and especially if you beat LSU, you're looking at potentially 9-3. For LSU though, after losing to Florida State, this is going to be a massive game because LSU wants to try. You need to bounce back after Florida State. I know we had the Southern game, but this would be a major bounce back after the Florida State game for LSU because of the caliber opponent that they're playing. Southern really is just a get right scrimmage per se. So I'm really interested. I will say Will Rogers makes me really nervous because LSU, the middle of their defense, has not looked good. The linebackers have not played exceptionally well. They haven't played terrible, like in the past 2 years, but they haven't played exceptionally well. And they are going to have to, and that's really what Mississippi State does, is they like to pick apart the middle of the defense because in an air raid type offense, the intermediate passing game is their running game. So, doing little slants and little out routes and dump downs and throwing to the back out of the backfield, that's State's running game per se. Obviously, they're going to run the football as well, but that is an extension of their running game and the type of offense that Mississippi State is in. So one of the biggest things that LSU needs to also do, and we'll get to this as we'll talk about and discuss as well, but they have got to be able to keep everything in front of them. They've got to keep everything in front of them. So we'll see. It makes me nervous, but I will say I have high trust in what Carter the Power Bryant says over at PHL, Power Hour LSU. I have
great film study.
He does great film study. He does complete deep dives into both teams, and he likes LSU, and he says he likes LSU by 10 or more in this game. So that gives me some confidence. I feel like that's tough to hear. I'm worried about him saying that, but with it coming from his mouth, it gives me some confidence.
Zach, I mean, I get your point. I mean, I would agree with you on the LSU's receivers against State's DBs. I will say, though, that Forbes is nobody to overlook in State's secondary. Forbes is Leighton, correct me if I'm wrong. I think he's their best guy in their secondary. Plays great in coverage. Plays great in coverage downfield. So if I'm State, I got Forbes on Booty or Malik Neighbors all night long. I can't remember what kind of role he plays. Leighton, maybe you can give me some more insight on Forbes, whether he plays. Does he play one of the wide corners or does he play at the nickel? But Forbes is definitely a guy I would, if I was State, I would put him on LSU's best guy all night long, and make LSU go to somebody else. Now, I'm not saying Kayshawn can't beat Forbes because I think he has the ability to do so. But what I'm saying is Forbes is a great DB, and he showed that in LSU's last game last year. He showed it last week against Arizona. He got an interception. So that is one guy to look for. Leighton, what are your first takes for this game? What do you think are some of the keys of the game? What's your opinion so far?
Well, there is a kind of a big number that actually stands out to me, and it's 12. 12 is how many of our actual receivers have caught a pass from Rogers. This isn't the same State teams that I've seen that have maybe one guy, maybe maybe one, but they are just gritty, man. I mean, they aren't these world beaters. I mean, so we don't have any four or even a 5-star receiver out there. But if you look at our coach's little play sheet tomorrow night, it's about this big.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
It's simple, but if you do everything right, then it is going to work. That's what that is the big thing tomorrow night. But also, I like Rogers, even if it's in Death Valley, because he just doesn't care. I mean, he is he is the pretty much like I look at him like I look at like John Wayne. He like goes out
Very
there.
level-headed. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he don't care. It could be against like the Alabama. Sure, he is like outman, but he's still going to do what he thinks he like needs to do. But
Absolutely.
but on our defense, y'all have to look out for this like guy named it is actually Jet Johnson.
Yes.
He has like 12
Yes.
solo tackles in 2 games, right? So I mean, if I could sum up the like defense, they are exactly like our what's the word, like a coordinator.
Yeah.
He is like never satisfied. They
No.
could like go out there, do perfect. Well, man, he could always do better. But it's against LSU. It's in Death Valley, and I'm a like diehard State fan, as you alluded to, unfortunately.
Sure.
But but I've had a really good feeling all week. I mean, which is like probably just gas, but you know that's probably the feeling I'm having. But um, hopefully hopefully everything works out. So
Yeah,
we'll see.
I gotta agree. And Zach, here was my holdup with State in the beginning of the year. Yes, I thought Will Rogers was a great quarterback. He was a great quarterback last year. I think he was a solid quarterback last year. He's improved. My holdup with State was their defense. I wanted to see defense, or State's defense needed to prove something to me. I feel like the loss of Aaron Brule in the middle of their defense was a big loss to Michigan State. Was kind of a leader on that team. So I wanted to see State play defense. And I mean, again, the opponent hasn't been to a great level. I mean, Arizona and who did they play week 1? I'm drawing a blank.
It was Memphis.
Memphis, yes. So I mean, your opponent hasn't been great, but still, I mean, you can still make judgment calls, I think, and they've been more impressive than I figured they would have been. Now I will say, I think you're going to face a quarterback that is in Jaden Daniels that is going to make way more better decisions than the dude Delora over at Arizona. I mean, holy smokes, the dude made some wild decisions last week and did some outlandish things. I mean, one play I saw him run back. I thought it was like 40 yards. He ran backwards.
Yeah.
And turned around, avoided a sack, threw it up there, and it was like, what is happening right now? Like, so I mean, maybe there's some reserve with the defense, but I think that State's defense has played exceptionally well through the first 2 games and has made me more concerned about this game. I'm concerned about LSU's run game. I also want to see us. I want to see us throw the ball to the running backs. We haven't seen it enough. I feel like I think we need to see it some more. Maybe with John Emery coming back this week, maybe you do see that a little bit more. Now, Brian Kelly has mentioned, these other guys, Noah Kane, Armani Goodwin, have earned playing time, and it's not like they're just going to run John Emery out there and he's going to be the featured back all night long. Now, I mean, if he gets the hot hand and he starts rolling, right, you give him some more reps. But, I mean, if he's not just taking over the game, I still think we're going to see a running back by committee type of situation. But I want to see more of us. I want to see the run be established. I want to see the ball put into the running back's hands. And I also, I'm worried about the run game a lot because I think, what's the big dude up the middle, Leighton, y'all's defensive tackle. Dude's a run stopping machine. He will swallow it up.
If you wouldn't have asked me, then I could have told you.
But
offhand.
But the 3-3-5 that State runs, I think Zach Arnett runs it really well. And with them running a 3-3-5, it's going to make the openings for the receivers a lot tighter. There may not be as many openings because you got 8 back in coverage, and Arnett is also really good at sending blitzes and disguising blitzes, and that worries me about our offensive line. So if he doesn't blitz, you got 8 in coverage, so you need to try to run the ball. But if you're not running the ball and there's 8 in coverage, it's going to be tight, right?
Yeah.
And then if they're showing the 3-3-5 still and they disguise the blitz, is our offensive line experienced enough and have the knowledge enough to be able to pick up these disguised blitz, because Arnett is really good at it. And I'm going to tell you right now, I just don't think our offensive line is experienced enough. I mean, you got a true freshman starting as your left tackle, a sophomore starting as your guard, a sophomore starting as your other guard in Miles Frazier. Well, no, maybe Miles Frazier kicked out to right tackle. I think he's staying out there, right? Charles Turner's just now starting, getting his first start probably as a center at LSU. I don't think our offensive line is experienced that much, so that worries me. All of that worries me. Defense, the State's defense and the way Arnett runs his defense worries me for our offensive scheme. I think our secondary actually will match up pretty well against their receivers. I think our secondary has played very well. We're going to see Sevyn Banks play this game. Now, Zach, you were absolutely right. I think our secondary, guys like Converse, Richardson, Brooks, Ward, I think they're going to play well. Over the middle absolutely is where I'm concerned. Your linebacker, when you get a mismatch with a linebacker on a receiver, it's going to be a problem. And that worries me.
Doug may mention this. He said we'll see a lot of Baskerville Perkins and Kobe Fields because of their speed. They're three of the fastest linebackers. Yeah. You got to wrap up.
Yeah. The tackling has been very concerning to me as well. You got to tackle in this game. Look, LSU fans and Leighton as well, State's going to move the ball against LSU. They are going to move the ball. Like, our defense will not. I do not see our defense holding them to under 300 yards. It's not going to happen. I think they're probably going to throw for about 200 yards.
If it does, LSU wins the game.
If LSU holds State to under 300 yards, I think we win the game. Yeah. I don't see how we hold Will Rogers from throwing under 200, and I also don't see us stopping the run for under 100. Because is Marks out? Did he? I saw he got injured in the Arizona game. Y'all's running back Marks. Is he out for this game?
Well, that's what's odd, because in like the first 2 games, they flip flop. I've seen at least 4 different guys. So here's this is off topic, but a little bit, but
roll with it.
Whenever you see a team that'll do the whole the rush 3, do the whole drop 8 thing, any good coach is gonna know you can run the ball then.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Because here comes 3. There's your 5 guys. So you can either pitch it, you can dunk it. And it has gotten to the point where we have realized at State that, or I should say that Leach has realized, because everyone knew you could run. You have to run in the SEC to win, usually, but you have to run the ball. But he's getting better. I actually saw that in our bowl game. I saw it in our first 2 games. So, but on the whole Marks thing, I'm pretty sure that he's going to be back. I mean, he may have actually tweaked something, but I haven't heard anything. I mean,
okay.
Leach isn't going to say either way.
Yeah, so. But I mean, what has so year, I wasn't as high on State. I thought Will Rogers was great. Will Rogers was great. I wanted to see the defense. I think the defense has been great. I also wanted to see the running game, and the running game has looked solid too. So it's going to be a very tight game. Now, I've talked a lot about where State can beat us, where I think LSU can beat State is if you run 3, if you rush 3 and drop 8 against Jaden Daniels can hurt you really bad with his legs, really bad.
Yep.
I mean, if your secondary isn't looking and nobody's open, Jaden can rip off 25 yards.
He go tuck that thing.
I mean, that'll be a problem for State. And if that begins to hurt them, do they make adjustments in game, and then do your receivers open up? So that will be a big factor. I think Jaden's legs will be a big factor. I do think our receivers outmatches the secondary. I think we will move the ball passing. I think the DBs are a little bit better than people are going to expect, though. I think the DBs of Mississippi State are going to be better than what some LSU fans are expecting. I'm not saying they're going to be incredible and they're going to hold our receivers to nothing, but LSU fans expect a little bit better than probably what you are thinking right now. I think that. Sorry, y'all. I did kind of point out already, I do think our secondary matches well against their receivers. I think their receiver ducking looks really well. Super athletic, long guy. Yes, yes. I love the celebration. Jalen Waddle and them. Jalen Waddle does that in the NFL. I think it's great. Great celebration. You definitely got to keep an eye out for him. I think he's going to be a big threat. But I do like our secondary matched up against their receivers, especially since he has made the move for Jay Ward to nickel and put Greg Brooks back at safety. It looked a lot better. It looked a lot more improved. The communication got better. So that's where I think LSU can win in the passing game. On defense, I think we can win in the DBs. I think Jaden can hurt State a lot with his legs. I'm going to tell y'all right now, I've saved this for last because I wanted to make a point of this. State's offensive line is good. State's offensive line is very good. They give Rogers plenty of time to stay in the pocket and make throws. Now, they haven't faced a defensive line like LSU has this year yet. So we will see how that pans out. But LSU fans, will say that the defensive line of LSU is probably our best strength, them or our receivers. I'm really curious to see how our defensive line matches up against State's offensive line. Leighton, did you have something to add to that?
I actually said finally, because I have been wondering why 3 is a whole lot bigger than 5, right? I mean, for the first, I think he's been there now like 3 years. They could never figure out that 3 is smaller than 5, so 5 should be able to stop the 5th man. I mean, but I don't know, man. It's just math. It's just small stuff. We are like a little behind, I guess. But come on. I mean, finally, they're figured it out, and I am finally happy with that. So.
But yes, I will. I do think LSU can wreak some havoc on the defensive line and cause some pressure. But I am cautious in saying that because I do think State's offensive line is very good. That being said, a lot of games are won on the line of scrimmage. And if our offensive line is in question and their offensive line looks a little bit better, you better hope our defensive line steps up and causes pressure, because I think there's going to be some pressure on Jaden Daniels. Now, again, we did talk about them only rushing 3. Maybe Jaden can get out of it better. We'll see. But Zach, we are 52 minutes in. We need to hit some comments. We need to hit a quick break, and then we'll come back and we'll get to the tools of success. We'll do the TA tools of success, and we'll also let Leighton roll out his tools for success for Mississippi State. Let's hit some quick comments, and then we'll hit a break. What we got, Zach?
Doug asked a really good question, but I honestly do not know the answer to it. He asked, last team that Brian Kelly faced with a 3-3-5. I honestly don't know.
Now, in his
I don't know if
conference,
are you asking Doug if he's going to bring out the 3-3-5 or the last team that he's faced that ran a 3-3-5? Yeah. I'm assuming that's what you're asking. This is the last.
Now, he mentioned, in his press conference that he had faced it before. I can't remember if he mentioned which team ran it last. I may be wrong in saying this, but he did mention Navy. I couldn't remember if he was talking about their triple option or their defensive scheme, but he did say in his press conference he had played against the 3-3-5, and it causes some difficulties for your receivers. But I can't remember if he mentioned a specific team.
Jesse, the new owner of a TA hoodie, asked, is this the KJ Costello revenge game?
Is that the year Will Rogers took over?
Yeah, he took over like game 3, didn't he, Leighton?
Is that the year?
Yeah, that's also the year that they had the bandwagon like debacle that like Mike Leach pulled out on this big like horse-drawn wagon, and then they got their butts whipped the next week by who knows who, but they got beat. So
look,
don't matter. It's a number.
The KJ Costello thing was not because of KJ Costello. It was because
of man coverage.
Bo Pelini refusing to come out of man coverage. What an idiot. Gosh.
And because he wears sweatshirts in September.
Yeah,
on the sidelines. I mean,
he came to collect a retirement check and then he left. Oh, yeah. I go on and on about that. That game irritated the ever living life out of me. The fact that he refused to come out of man coverage, and they killed us. Oh my gosh, that was so embarrassing. Thank you, Bo Pelini, for the embarrassment that was that game, coming off of a national championship. Golly. Anything else? Any other comments?
Yeah. Jesse said, got trivia for you all. Who was the last LSU head coach to finish his career under 500? That was Curly Hallman.
Yeah.
That was Curly Hallman. I don't even think he had a 400 winning percentage. I don't think he did. Whew. I think it was 300 something. I'd have to go look it up.
Brutal.
Yep. He was really bad. The 90s was a rough time for the Tiger fans.
Yeah, it was.
Rough time. Thank God we didn't live through it. I mean, I was barely a 90s baby, like 97. Reagan was barely a 90s baby. But anyways,
yeah, I barely made
Curly Hallman.
All right, let's hit a quick break, and then we'll come back and we'll hit our tools for success, and then we'll wrap the show up. We'll see you right back after this.
Tigers Avenue is proud to announce that we now have TA merchandise. You can find all of our merchandise by heading over to tigersavenue.com and clicking on the merchandise tab. We have everything from t-shirts, hoodies, shorts, joggers, hats, and beanies. We've even got shoes, Converse, and slides. Head over to our accessories tab where you can find blankets, bumper stickers and license plates, magnets and stickers, mugs, bottles, and tumblers, phone cases. You can find tech and office and outdoor products like a mouse pad, a puzzle, a notebook, and more, all at tigersavenue.com. Head on over to tigersavenue.com today, click the merchandise tab, and get yours now.
Oh my goodness,
bruh, you
Jesse,
stupid.
Brad Davis,
Bro, you stupid, man.
Is Leighton in here? Where's Leighton go?
Leighton, I think, ran either to the restroom or where. I don't know. He'll be back.
Okay.
He'll be back here shortly, I'm sure.
We'll get him back here in a second.
Yeah, Brett, Jesse, come on. That's a
Brad
stupid
Davis.
Brad Davis, come on, man.
I mean, I guess technically he's right.
I guess technically he's right, but that's interim. We're talking about like official head coach. Official.
Brad Davis.
You got to clarify on the question, Jesse. That's your fault. It's your fault. Sorry.
I mean, head coach. I mean, interim. Anyways, Zach. TA's. We got Leighton back in here. There's Leighton. All right, guys. It's the final segment here. Final segment here for Tigers Avenue tonight. The tools for success. We previewed the game. We've discussed SEC football and whatnot. And so now we're going to discuss the tools for success. Zach, what are your TA tools for success for LSU to win this game tomorrow?
So I think one of the biggest things for me that I want to see out of LSU in order to win this game is they need to establish the run game and control time of possession. Establish. What?
You said establish.
They need to establish
Yes,
family.
Yes, sir.
Family.
They need to establish the run game so that we can control the time of possession.
Mercy.
Anyways, I want to see them. I want to see them really get the run game going. I don't think we didn't see it against Florida State. Me and Reagan mentioned that when we were there at the game. During the game, we're like, we need to establish a run. They never did. Against Southern, you can't really say that they established the run because it's Southern. You can establish the run with anybody who's in the backfield. So,
yeah.
I want to see them place the running game as a priority. I'm not saying it as their top priority, but I want to see it as a priority. I think a lot of people are predicting Jane Daniels to be the leading rusher. I don't want to see that. I want to see John Emery have a breakout. I want to see John Emery be the John Emery that we know.
I would love
5-star that we know. That's what I want to see. And I think I have a picture of this. Hold on. You can't see it anyways. I'll put it at the end of the show.
There you go.
The other thing is they need to keep everything on the defensive side of the ball. They need to keep everything in front of them, and they need to tackle. They need to tackle well. This is going to, as Reagan said, the defense is going to give up yards. That's just because of the offense that State runs. They're going to give up yards, but they have to be a bend but don't break type defense, which means you can allow the pass, you can allow the stuff to happen in front, but you've got to be able to wrap up. You have got to wrap up. I completely agree with Reagan. I'm tired of seeing the shoulder tackles. I'm tired of seeing somebody run up and just trying to knock you out with their shoulder.
They just bounce off.
Or with their
bounce
body.
off every time. It's
like,
it drives me nuts.
This is college football. Like, it's not high school. People bounce off of that stuff now. Okay, so go at the legs, wrap up the leg. You know how I succeeded whenever I was this little tiny miniature kid in Pee-wee football.
How's that, Zach?
I wrapped up. I went for the legs because my coach told me, look, Zach, you're not that big. You're not that big. Dudes are going to truck stick you. But even if they truck stick you, if you wrap their legs up and you don't give up, you don't give up. You don't let go. You hold on for dear life. Truck stick. If you hold on for dear life, they're going to go down.
Man. Go
Go for the legs. Wrap up with your arms, not your shoulder, because that can't happen. Keep everything in front of them, and those are my two biggest things. Jane Daniels has got to find the wide open guys. I know his legs are elite, and I understand that with the offensive line that he has right now, there is a tendency to want to leave the pocket early. If you go back and you watch the Southern game, on his first scrambling touchdown, Keyshawn Butte is wide open in the middle of the end zone. Wide open. He's got to be able to trust his offensive line a little bit more so that he can stand back and deliver strikes to these really good elite wide receivers. But my biggest thing is establish the running game, control time of possession, and wrap up.
Leighton, what are your
better.
keys for success for Mississippi State?
For State to win. Yeah, the opposite.
For State to win. Yeah, obviously.
For State to win tomorrow night. Okay. Have you ever gone fishing and there's a bunch of gnats around you? I mean, they're just gnats.
Sure.
You're tired of them. But you're still catching fish. I mean, you're still out there having a good time. That's how Rogers has to be tomorrow night.
Yeah.
He has to zone out all those 105,000 Tigers because it's an intimidating place.
And it's let's think about this. Sorry to cut you off, Leighton. This is his first true LSU road game.
Sure.
Yes.
He didn't play. He didn't play in 2020. KJ Costello played the entire game, and it was a day game. Will Rogers was a freshman. Now he's having to go to LSU as the starting quarterback.
It was also during COVID.
At night. Yeah, it was during COVID. At night in a fully packed out stadium.
Back to what I'm saying, though. There's gnats everywhere, but you're still catching fish. So, I mean, you're still going to keep trying different baits. I mean, you're still going to tear them up. But I'm just saying, for it to go our way tomorrow night, we have to be patient. We can't let the small stuff just because State as a team, I've seen it. They will let these drives that'll stall out. Well, we're done. Well, this happened. Well, this happened. That's what's different about this team that I see this year is that they just keep going. But our defense is better than than a lot of people think.
Yeah.
I've seen it. They can. It even shocks me some of the different schemes that I've seen him run. I mean, but honestly, you can throw stats out the window. You can throw whatever out the window tomorrow night.
Absolutely.
It's in Death Valley. It's at night. But you also have good old Mike Leach, right? That's not saying much so far. But the keys to success, like I said, is patience. They just have to be patient. Take what LSU gives them.
Sure.
And just don't let what they aren't actually hitting get them bogged down. Just keep trying a whole different bait, just like fishing, like we were just talking about. So, I mean, just be patient.
Yeah. So here's my keys for success. If LSU wants to win this game, it's got to be one, I think, on the defensive side of the ball. I think you got to keep Will Rogers at bay. How do you do that? I think Brian Kelly spoke to this a little bit in his press conference. And yes, Brian Kelly can say, hey, we're going to do this or try this, but you got to execute it. I want to see it. Last year, we ran the three. We had 3 down linemen. You dropped 8, and it held State enough at bay for you to win the game in Starkville. State is more multiple this year with their run game. I think they have better weapons this year in their receiving game. I don't think that running 3 down linemen the whole game is going to win it. And Brian Kelly said that. If you do the same thing over and over again, State's going to find an opening and they're going to gash you. The defense has to be multiple. Mike House has to draw up some schemes that maybe State hasn't seen us run yet on film. We got to run 3 down linemen. We got to run 4 down linemen. We got to run some exotic looks, some stunts, some blitzes to keep pressure on Will Rogers, keep him guessing.
Confusion.
Are they coming? Yep. Are they not coming? Are they dropping back in coverage? The defense has to be very fast and physical tomorrow night. I think that's why you've made mention of this. Brian Kelly made mention of this. You're going to see guys like Harold Perkins play linebacker a lot. Micah Baskerville needs to play, period. End of discussion. It doesn't matter what team you're playing. Micah Baskerville is probably your best linebacker right now and has played like it. So he just needs to be on the field in general. But his speed, Harold Perkins' speed. You got to keep this defense fast and physical, and you got to keep State's offense guessing on the offensive side of the ball. Because I tell you right now, if you're not, Will Rogers is going to settle in, and it may be a long night.
Yep.
So I think we got to be really multiple on the defensive front. On the offensive side of the ball, you got to do what you do best. You got to put the ball in the talent makers' hands, and playmakers' hands. Excuse me. You have the talent in your receiving group to go out and win this game. Yes, I want to see the run game. I want to see the run game established. You need to. I think your receivers can win you this game. Jaden Daniels can win you this game with his legs. So the keys for success for me is, how does Jaden Daniels play in his first SEC game? Is he efficient as he's been these past 2 weeks? So far, he's been the most efficient quarterback in the SEC from a statistic standpoint. I'm not saying he is the most efficient. Just from a statistical standpoint and a QBR rating standpoint, he's been the most efficient. Does he keep that up in his first SEC game? And on the defensive front, you got to be multiple. You got to keep Will Rogers uncomfortable in the pocket. You got to keep him guessing. And that's how LSU can win this game. Also, I want to see Death Valley jumping. I want it jumping. It needs to be jumping tomorrow night. It's been a long time since it's been jumping.
2019.
It's been probably since 2019.
Hey, can I add something real quick?
Absolutely.
When was the largest crowd to ever see a like football game in Death Valley?
The largest crowd ever? I don't know. Was it 2019 Florida, or was it the year Dak Prescott came?
The year that Dak Prescott came down to Baton Rouge and sent a bunch of those Cajuns out the door. Quick.
Yeah, he did.
It's quick, baby.
He did.
It's quick. Now, nothing's going to happen
He
again.
did.
I mean, so I know he's not Dak Prescott, but
Sure.
I love like to meet someone like Will Rogers.
Sure.
So anyway.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. And that's exactly what I'm saying. If you let Will Rogers settle in and he takes the crowd out of this, we're in trouble. We are in trouble. So it's gonna. So we'll finish with our predictions here. We've given our keys to success. I think it's gonna be a highly competitive game. I think it's gonna be very tooth and nail. Leighton, we'll start with you. Give us your final prediction.
Final prediction. If State can just go out there and show them that they're not scared to be there, which is key, because I've seen State teams that have been intimidated. Because it's hard not to be. When you walk in the stadium, and like I say, you have this big sign that says 1, 2, 3, X amount of times national champions with a big tiger looking at you. Oh man, we have that as a fan is intimidating. But
yeah, sure.
If they can go in there and just do what they do and just control what they can. All week I've been saying 35-10 State, but after talking to you now, I'm going to say, because I'm telling you, hey, wait, I'm telling you.
25 points?
Watch. Hey, no, but I haven't added to what I was going to say.
Sure, go ahead.
But it depends on if we can shut Daniels down the way that Florida State made him run the ball, like doing all this juking, driving, running through. It's gonna be a long night for y'all. But in reality, I still think State pulls it out somehow. 35-27.
35-27.
Yeah.
Zach, what you got?
Oh man, this is tough for me. Because because of Florida State and the performance LSU had, I want to go with State and picking MSU to win this game. I really do. But I know this is it seems homer.
I don't care who it is.
Well, I mean, when they play Alabama, I'm picking Alabama to beat them.
Smart man.
When they play Arkansas, I'm probably picking Arkansas to win the game. We got picks going down. We got picks going on. But here's the reason: if this game is at State, I'm picking State to win, 100%, 100%.
Yeah.
If this game's this game's at State, I am picking Mississippi State to win. I think because the game's at Death Valley. Because this is the biggest environment Will Rogers will have ever played in to this point in his career. This is going to be the biggest, most hostile environment Will Rogers has ever played in his career. Because I think LSU worked out some things with special teams this past week against Southern and on the offensive line. I'm not saying they're good. The offensive line's got a lot of work to do, but I think they worked out a few things they feel a little bit more comfortable with because State and the defense that they run. I think Jaden Daniels is going to be able to get a lot of rushing yards with John Emery's return. They're able to rotate a little bit more running backs. I think LSU barely edges out Mississippi State 35-32.
35-32. I'm going to tell you right now, this is my prediction for the game. I think it's going to be very tooth and nail fight. I really do. I think it's going to be a very nail-biting game. Sorry, I muted myself. I don't want it to be as a fan because I hate biting my nails. I feel like I always am biting my nails off as a LSU fan. But I think it's going to be a very tight game. I think Jaden Daniels wins LSU the game.
Yeah.
If LSU wins the game, I think it's because of Jaden Daniels. I think it's very close. I think LSU wins 28-24. 28-24. Well, there you have it, guys. Obviously, the two LSU boys are going to pick LSU. Leighton goes with State 35-27. Hill State. Okay, so I think I know, now all the predictions and the review aside, I think I know who Stingray is now. Is he the really round-faced, mustache?
Yeah,
okay,
kind of a mustache guy. Yeah, that's it.
I saw the video go around this week, and I was like, I got news for all you LSU fans. Yeah. That guy right there. Yeah, I can see why you're.
I'll say embarrassment. Right.
Unfortunately, Leighton, that is the view of what probably a lot of people have of Mississippi State fans. That is probably.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
He's not. No. Oh, trust me, I know.
Oh man. But hey, guys, it's SEC football. It's night game in Death Valley. It's gonna be a really fun game. This is why you love.
We'll
college
be texting
football.
for sure. We'll be texting back and forth.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is the epitome of why we love college football and SEC football specifically. Going to be a great game. Leighton, we really appreciate you joining on, all of your insight into Mississippi State, giving us a opposing team perspective. Appreciate you joining on. You've been an awesome guest. Appreciate all of you fans for joining in here and commenting. We'll get to a few more of your comments here, and then we'll hit our last break, and we will wrap this show up. Once again, we thank you, Leighton, for joining in. It's been awesome, man. All right, Zach, what comments we got?
Doug's loving Leighton, man. Now, this is the redneck breakdown I was looking for.
He's talking about the fishing.
Stingray could never articulate gnats, fishing, and football. I love it. I love Doug. He's just killing the comments. He also said Brandon Harris was a Hail Mary away from winning that one. Talking about the Dak Prescott winning Death Valley. He was. If they would have started Anthony Jennings, man, LSU would have won.
Well, no. Let me just say, in the words of Steve Sarkisian, that's right. We didn't lose to Alabama. We ran out of time. I mean, come on, man. You lost.
You
lost it, AD.
He also said that JD5 is going to put up 14 up by himself.
I don't
2
disagree.
rushing touchdowns
I
by
don't disagree.
JD.
I don't disagree.
We'll see. All right, let's take a quick break.
If LSU wins, it's Jaden Daniels.
Yeah,
let's take a quick break. We'll come back and wrap it up.
5-Star Hero, your intro and outro music for the Tigers Avenue show. They ain't ready for that LSU. Go check out all his other music on all the major platforms. Don't forget to follow him on Instagram at Saints Anthem and at Twitter at One Nation Doty. Don't forget to check out his Facebook page for all his Saints and LSU merchandise. 5-Star Hero. Can't get any better than Sarah Klein Stevens, attorney at law. Her firm focuses on the needs of the elderly and maintaining their dignity throughout the process. Here for you, here for your family. Sarah Klein Stevens, attorney at law.
All right, guys, it's been a great show, fantastic show. Once again, to our cousin, Leighton, you've been awesome. We always love bringing people on to give their perspectives, and Leighton, you are awesome at doing so. And, of course, we appreciate an opposing fan's perspective. We don't want just to think of our show as just a bunch of LSU homers pumping LSU sunshine. We want an opposing fan to come in here and give his perspective. Appreciate all y'all coming in here and commenting and interacting tonight. It's been a great show. Looking forward to this game tomorrow night. It's a big one. Y'all enjoy it. We'll see you next time here in the Tigers Avenue. 5-Star Hero, take us out. Peace.
Who that 5-star? Who that 5-star? And the LSU Tigers, LSU Tigers.